it's very important to look at not just the symbolic value of making this trip at this time for the last few years, but also the strategic value of visiting some of these countries. For instance, if you look at Nigeria, it's one of the largest African countries. And by the end of this century, Nigeria will only be behind India as one of the largest countries in terms of population. So China has found that, most of these African countries, they have tailored for them a customized approach. But broadly, when you look at African countries, 28% of UN General Assembly consists of African countries. Africa has got the median age across the African continent is 20 years. Just this week, African countries signed the continent-wide free trade agreement that brings 1.3 billion people. So for China, it's looking at Africa as an opportunity, whereas other countries and sets of countries look at Africa as a problem to be solved, and that makes for a fascinating engagement between China and Africa.
So that being said, how would you describe the status of China-African relations right now?
It is doing well. If you look at across various matrices, 19 of 48 African countries export more to China than any other part of the world. China has overtaken the United States as Africa's largest trader. China than any other country as a member of the UN Security Council has peacekeeping troops in Africa, almost 3,000 of them. So the relation is at a good place, but it's adding a new layer. For instance, with the advent of COVID-19, where at the beginning China sent PPEs, doctors, and all manner of requirements for dealing with the COVID pandemic. But again, these are not relationships that were built at the drop of the hat. These are relationships that have been nurtured since 1963, when China first began what you would call health diplomacy, when they sent a few medical doctors to Algeria, and then in the 70s they sent to Tanzania. So it's building on some of those traditions that China has continued to nurture, but also it's coming at a point where you're seeing a tremendous amount of COVID vaccine nationalism going around. For China now, there are 3 vaccines that are different stages of development. At least over 50 African diplomats in China visited Sinopharm, where these vaccines are being prepared. So I think this is all ahead of that to ensure that Africa gets a fair shake in dealing with COVID-19.
Right, and other issues include the Belt and Road Initiative, economic development. What are some of the other goals of this trip? And looking ahead, what will you be watching for as Wang Yi visits each country?
I think it will be very important to see who he meets. China's relationship, China's meetings tend to be bilateral, but they are also moving into softer areas of strategic importance, including the universities, where many Chinese language schools are being established, or units within universities are being established. That is something to keep an eye on. Also, if there are questions around debt restructuring across some of these countries, that is something that one needs to keep an eye on. Not just the schools and the universities and teaching and learning institutions, but also if they are meeting political parties. China is also very keen in seeing how the Chinese African countries' political parties can learn from Chinese Communist Party. So those are things that I'll be on the lookout for.
All right, Abdullahi Boru Halakhe, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.